Welcome to IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Joe Cook. It's Justin Wells. That's Ian Boyd. Thursday, March 5th. Thank you for watching. Make sure you give that video a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Good morning, Roaster. Morning, Sugar Daddy. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, subscribe to InsideTexas.com. You can get all this insight, all this analysis, recruiting info, basketball, baseball coverage for just $1. Use that QR code at the top left of the screen. Use the first link in our description. Sign up for just $1. Great time to do it. Spring practice starts on Monday, so a lot of great coverage from those 15 practices will be coming up. We've broken down the roster completely. I even got the specialist done today, and so you're going to want to be on Inside Texas. We'll have reports. We'll have everything you need over there, so come check us out. And today, Ian, we get to talk a little bit about – you've been kind of pounding the drum about what the Will Muschamp defense is going to have to defend over the course of this season, and just how much of a threat dual threat quarterbacks are, athletic, mobile quarterbacks. And you highlighted a couple players who really need to break out this year in order for Texas in that defense to work the way that it needs to.
Yes, I did. Those two players are Lance Jackson and Jelani McDonald. I mean, you could pick some. I mean, obviously, Colin Simmons, hopefully he's good next year.
Yeah.
The linebackers need to be good. But these two guys could help this defense have an awful lot of flexibility with the different schemes they could play, the different packages Muschamp could create. These two guys could really help him just make sure that they have matchups and packages that deny space and aren't easily picked apart by spread teams.
And Justin, you and I were talking before we went live. We're trying to figure out when they're going to post the updated roster. They usually do that. Sometimes they do it day of, sometimes they do it day before. Lance was listed at 6'5", 254, and that was, optimized for the Pete Witkowski Jack role. But I'm kind of thinking if he's got to get up to like 265, 270, doesn't seem like that's something that would be too difficult for him, considering you've seen him up close and in person a lot. You know what his game looks like, what he's looked like, when he was just Landon's little brother a long time ago. It doesn't seem like getting more weight on him would be too difficult of a task.
It's not. It's as simple as eating his Wheaties, spinach, like Popeye, and just letting nature take its course. This kid is probably 280, 285. That's going to be my guess right now. I mean, he's going to continue to fill out, and it's really good weight. Like, he didn't bring bad weight to him. He was a very moldable piece of clay. This is a kid that I think Muschamp is very intrigued by. He knows that there's a lot of unique things Lance can do for you. His athleticism is – you don't see that much at that position at 4I. You really don't. They're not generally the multi-sport guys like Lance was, and I think that's why he can be special.
So, Ian, we've talked a lot about the different fronts that Texas can and will use as a result of having Will Muschamp on defense, but as a defensive coordinator. But you kind of talk about, okay, how are they going to use him? How can they use him? And just maybe for that position in general, whether it's Lance Jackson, whether it's, Justice Terry, Zeno Umenyazulu, what does that role kind of from a, elevator pitch point of view do in this defense?
It could be a lot of things. I think Lance Jackson could do like everything, but I think he can slide down and play inside as a 4I or as a passing downs inside guy. I think he can play outside and zip around the edge and chase the quarterback out of the pocket. He's strong enough to get inside against the run game just because, I mean, he's strong. He probably needs to get stronger. He's pretty big and needs to get bigger, but he's so naturally powerful and sudden that it's really hard to stop him from doing pretty much whatever he wants to do. Like rewatching him against Michigan, it was stark that they just couldn't handle him. He was too powerful for most of the guys trying to block him and too fast. You would think like, oh, he's too big for a tight end and he's too fast for an offensive tackle. Well, he was too fast for tight ends and too powerful for offensive tackles too. He's just very freakish. What's he at now, Justin? Did you mention a minute ago?
I'm going to guess he's probably 280, 285.
Yeah. He moves and he's what, 6'4"?
6'5", 6'5 and a half.
Whew. He's golly. He's 6'5". He moves like he's 240 or 2. He moves like a guy who's 240 or 250 who moves really well.
I remember when he committed, we were like there are a handful of like prospect comps that are you leave on the top shelf and you don't touch them unless like it's a very special occasion. And I was thinking about looking up there and grabbing the Myles Garrett off the shelf. Like, and I think Myles Garrett is still far and away, one of the best football players, prospects.
Yeah, Myles isn't human.
But like the fact that I even thought about that, I think it illustrates where Lance could go. And Myles was dominant from the start. That's the other thing. Lance didn't have that same opportunity, at least volume-wise. But Ian, you're saying he could be doing it. He could have already put some of that tape down, maybe just not the volume that Myles had.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up Myles's numbers for like the combine.
You're going to see some crazy stuff.
Again, I thought about reaching up.
Right. That's the point. Joe's not making the comp.
Yeah.
He's telling us that he was mentally preparing to make the comp.
Yeah. So
he's probably in between Myles Garrett and Charles Omenihu.
It's a good spot to be.
Honestly, if you're as good as Charles Omenihu, you're already like, that's great. Texas would take Charles Omenihu every single year. And like, do you want to try to upgrade? And it'd be like, nah, we have Omenihu. We don't really need to upgrade. I think he can be better than that. I don't know if he's quite as freakish.
Charles is watching this. His head is going to get gigantic.
Well, he was a really good college defensive end and a
I know.
throw.
I know. I just know him. I know how he could. We're feeding the beast here with Charles.
I know.
My goodness, he'll be clipping this stuff, putting it on Instagram.
So here's another one. Z Williams, whatever this guy is, play the Michael Williams, Trayvon Walker role for Georgia. Michael Williams is probably a decent comp, but I think Michael Williams had like a slow 40, but his like first 10 split was really good or something like that, right?
Just explosive, yeah.
Yeah, I think Jackson is like that, but maybe still faster still.
So I got to play pulled up, and I'll see if I can get this working right. You grabbed a couple Michigan plays from the Citrus Bowl in your story, and this is that mint front. This is the 3-down lineman. Lance is there inside of the left tackle shoulder. I think that's Hero. That's probably January. And there's Colin Simmons kind of on the outside. It's not a good situation for Texas because it's, middle of the field, 2nd and 1, whole playbook's open. And you can see, I guess that's one of Ty Anthony Smith and do
you realize where Ty Anthony is standing?
Yeah, this is a really good clip for the McDonald piece as well.
Yeah.
Because they're in like a Tampa 2 deal with Ty Anthony way flexed out like he's a nickel.
Yes.
And which he can do.
Yeah.
And then Jelani is going to drop. He's the one in the middle, and he's going to drop down and kind of become your de facto Mike linebacker.
So here's
chills.
Here's Lance. Lance is the
4-eye.
Yep, 4-eye, strong side end. This is a good Michigan offensive line. And and the play isn't perfect for Texas defense, but man, Lance sure does his assignment.
Yeah, it's not a great example, but they just didn't do it very much. But you can tell that he's maintaining the B gap until he
Right.
He's maintaining the B gap. He has no problem dealing with the power of the offensive lineman. And he would have been able to fit in there if he needed to, but he also recognizes like that it's actually a quarterback rollout.
Yeah.
And totally shucks the dude.
That's the impressive part of this clip, actually.
How quickly he realizes what's going on and just discards the lineman.
Shed the block.
So it's not a great example for demonstrating, he can anchor inside as a 4-eye. But what you see him do here is like you just don't really have doubts about him doing anything when you see him do that.
And so that was from a 3-down look. Let me see if I can get this paused correctly. This is more from a 4-down look, and that's a good play design for Michigan. It's just it's not anything crazy. Wheel route, little curl on the rollout, easy stuff for Bryce Underwood. This is in a 4-down front, which he's going to be asked to do. Georgia was so well known for stemming and moving their fronts over and over. He's going to be moving in between, 5 technique, maybe 7 on occasion, but 5 technique and 4-eye. And this is an instance of him playing 5 technique. Is he on the top?
He's a little wider than that. It's more like a 7 because
he's outside the tight end here, correct?
Yeah.
That's a tight end.
He's going to cave in that whole side and put the tight end so far in the backfield that it basically eliminates 2 gaps.
All right, so here he is on the near side. All right, I'm excited to watch this one. Boom. Nope. Like, he's just pushing that guy out of the way.
That spot is familiar.
And the thing is, like, he also has – it's not just strength. Like, that's part of it. But, like, that's good fundamentals, too. Like, he does the wrong shoulder, but he doesn't, like, fly up field either. Like, he squeezes in, and that is like exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to squeeze that guy because he probably is able to recognize by watching some of the offensive lineman steps and even that tight end step that's an outside run. And so you're taught pretty quickly, like, you stop them from getting outside, and he does that. So that's manning the C gap. So he not only does he crunch the C gap, but he crunches the B gap too. And, they do a decent job on some of the other linemen. There's a double team that I think watches out. I can't tell who that is. Somebody, I think that's Murad Watson, who gets double teamed. And then the linebackers are clean enough to get him. But, like, that's, at least from Jackson, that's exactly how you play outside zone from that spot. And again, like Justin, like when he played tight end, he knows what tight ends are doing. And granted, Pleasant Grove ran the rock and ran it some more, but like he's got an understanding of what tight ends have to do. So there's football IQ up there as well.
No, there is, and it's not just him. It's he had an older brother that actually plays in the NFL right now, so he had kind of a blueprint for how to do it. And if you don't think those guys aren't talking and helping each other out, think again. Lance has always had a pretty good idea, always had a high IQ when it comes to either side of the field. Honestly, if he's not playing where he is now, he's probably a tight end on another team at another program. That was actually one of his other spots to play. But yeah, it's in his genes. It's in his DNA. He has his family. His mother and father played college athletics. His older brother played college athletics, plays for the Buffalo Bills. He just knows and understands the flow of the game and the nuance of it.
Ian, there is a name that I think everybody's going to be curious about when you think of 5-star defensive lineman, and it's Justice Terry. Do you see Justice Terry being able to occupy this same position?
Well, not at the same time, right?
Probably not.
That would be unique.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But like as far as a one,
like kind of They need like the Infinity Stone or something to figure out how to play two guys. But I don't know, honestly. I really don't know with Justice Terry. Lance Jackson is going to force his way to the field earlier, I think.
Terry doesn't have the requisite size for a 4-eye. Height, length.
I mean, I think he'd be okay.
I mean, I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying he doesn't have it like Lance has it.
It's hard to compete with Lance.
That's my point.
Yeah. There's so many things he could do, Terry, but he's kind of Mr. Hypothetical still until we start to see it.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to make of his role on this team. He'd be like at any minute it could all click and we're like, okay, Justice Terry has to have a role and it's going to be this and they're going to build this around him. But for now, I would say the more likely pieces like that are Jackson and Canoe and Simmons. And then, I mean, then probably January over January and maybe Murad over Terry. So
I think we may forget that Terry was he was still a ball of clay coming out of high school because of the lack of action in his senior year, because of his competition. Whereas Jackson was, I don't want to say polished, but compared to Terry, definitely was a lot more. Like there was a lot of what you get from, absorbing from osmosis from your brother, who's an NFL defensive lineman, like, and of course the great coaching staff up at Pleasant Grove. Like Jackson was ready to make plays right away, and it wasn't solely because of his athleticism. Like there was obvious skill and IQ.
That's just the difference in their background, Joe.
Yeah, and that's college football for you. That's something how
merging all those unique individual stories into one. Justice is going to find a spot, and honestly, I think it's going to be in 2026. He's just too strong, too powerful, and too explosive to not be given some sort of role.
Yeah, I think he'll probably be in the rotation for sure this year, right? And then next year, he'll be one of the guys that it's like, all right, he showed a lot in 2026 in rotation, and now it's his time to be the guy.
Yeah.
So whenever people think of 4-eye, I mean, Texas fans just don't like that term because of the I guess PTSD they have from some of those late 2010s defenses, and it being a bad thing on the almost a pejorative term on the recruiting trail. But he'll have opportunities to do both. And Ian, you harken back to when one of the best current defensive players in the NFL also had to play 4-eye in a similar system.
Oh yeah, Will Anderson. Will Anderson had this same role in 2021 for Alabama. I talk about this all the time. I've probably mentioned this on the show a few times. They would play him at like 245, 250 pounds, 6'2" or whatever. They would play him as a 4-eye at Alabama and as an outside defensive end. He'd go back and forth based on what they needed. If they're like, this is the time for a 3-down front, little Will Anderson slides inside like he's a defensive tackle. If we need him outside, congratulations, you get to go back outside. But Will Anderson was so powerful and sudden that he was unblockable in either spot. And he was really dangerous inside. I think if you go watch the play where like Texas had like a 4th down or something against Alabama that year, where they had like this huge play lined up and Will Anderson just like threw Kerstetter or somebody out of the way from an inside alignment and just raced in and blew it up. 34.5 tackles for loss and 17.5 sacks.
Yeah. And then to bring it to burnt orange, Sam Acho, they played. I remember that being something like when we would talk about versatile defensive linemen about, Sam Acho may have been, I don't want to say miscast because it was effective, but like he's someone who had maybe physical specs that weren't perfect for that position, but who played that role and did it pretty effectively.
Yeah, you can go find Acho getting pushed around a couple times in 09, like against Alabama and stuff when they'd slide him inside. But he's also it was like Anderson. It's like this guy is a little bit too fast for him to play inside and not be able to cause some problems. So he had surprisingly good numbers in 2009. I think he had as many or close to as many sacks that year as Sergio Kindle, which is kind of forgotten.
Sergio led the team that year in sacks.
It was really close. It was
and Sergio was the ultimate not fit for this position, but we're going to manufacture a role for you in this little edge anyway, and he was effective, ultimately effective.
Acho played opposite him, which probably helped.
Yeah.
And, oh, you know what, Justin? You're going to be shocked. 2009 sack leaders for Texas. Number 1, Sam Acho with 9. Number 2, Lamar Houston with 7.
Oh, from the inside?
Yeah,
that is impressive.
Lamar Houston was freaking dominant. And then
yeah,
third,
you know why? Because he was a running back in high school.
Yeah. Third was Sergio Kindle with 6. Sergio had 15.
Sergio had 3 of those in the national championship. And then he had 2 more in the Texas Tech game. I'm going to go back and tell Bianco rerun the numbers. But it's impressive. The Lamar Houston factor, that's the impressive nugget there. Because if you think Acho was undersized in that role, buddy, let me introduce you to Lamar. But they made it work. That defensive front, that defense was so good. They made it work. Ben Alexander was behind him playing some of that nose retake. Man, they made it work.
They had a young Keyston Randall too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He had 3 sacks that year.
Yeah. Big Keyston, wasn't it Beaumont, I think?
Beaumont Kelly.
That's it, Big Keyston. He wound up getting drafted playing for the Dolphins.
Yeah. He was one of my favorite players on those teams. Man, let's see. And Lamar Houston, here's the other thing. I'm pulling up the stats now. Lamar Houston had 17 tackles for loss as well to lead the team. Like from a D-line spot, that's impressive. So like
he was so nasty.
You couldn't get people were worried about Kindle outside because he was so explosive. And there's like, if we don't do a good job on Kindle, he's going to ruin everything we're trying to do. And Lamar Houston would end up as like a 3 technique, one-on-one with a guard. And he was way too athletic for a guard.
You would have thought a big O-line would have tried to maul Texas in 09.
This is very encouraging for next year because when Will Muschamp came to Texas, we did not know that they had monsters like this just waiting in the wings.
Well, I mean, the people that followed recruiting did. I'm telling you, we knew there were dudes.
Nobody knew Lamar Houston
was built off the recruiting class of the national championship.
Look, when Muschamp came in, Sergio Kindle was a Mike linebacker.
I understand that, but they had to switch him back down there in the Rackpo's role when Rackpo graduated.
Henry Melton was a running back.
Who was always going to be moved to defensive line, the Chris Whaley vibe.
Lamar Houston was a promising defensive end.
Yes.
Roy Miller was a really good nose tackle who couldn't stay healthy.
The nose tackle.
And all those 4 guys had not done anything of real note, especially on defensive line, before Muschamp took over and arrayed the pieces.
And outside of Houston, those were all high 4 and 5-star players. We knew they were there. We just didn't know how Muschamp was going to play them.
And we didn't know that they were all. We didn't necessarily know they were all NFL defensive linemen, though. Like, they hadn't even played that position yet for half of them.
Yeah, I'll give you that. You're right.
Good old football study hall is kind of broken, but Texas and SP Plus was 28th in 2007. And then I'm trying to see what the defensive SP Plus, and I'm trying to see what they jumped up to in that 2008.
Robinson, linebacker there yet?
I can tell you FEI, they went from 42 to 4 in defensive FEI.
Yeah. That's a big quality play. Before we keep going and talk about the other Longhorn who's got a breakout, time to hear from our sponsor, that is Academy Sports and Outdoors.
You can't guard me. You need a break to L tonight. Do you need a break? Come on.
Ben, your mom called. Looks like you're stuck with us tonight.
Let's go. Give me a shred.
So the other player is playing in the secondary. You alluded to him earlier, and you wrote, as we witnessed last season when Matt Patricia brought the more purely Bill Belichickian version of his defense to Ohio State, another key piece of the puzzle is the heady safety who can serve as an enforcer in the middle of the field. That was obviously Caleb Downs, and you're wondering, okay, is there someone like that who has great instincts and can match it with really strong athletic ability? And whatever nitpicking there is about Caleb Downs right now during draft season, that's draft nitpicking. Like, he's a really dang good football player.
What are people saying?
He has some like knee condition.
Oh,
They're
like,
picking him. They're trying to pick him apart, Ian.
Yeah.
He's still going early. Like I'm not, that dog isn't hunting.
But you're asked, does
Injured,
Texas
that's
have anybody like that?
He's fine.
The first you mention is, could it be Jonah Williams? And admittedly, that's hard to see right now when he's playing right field for Texas.
Yeah.
The other is Jelani McDonald. And I think this is something that, Jelani, in a similar sense, has always been athletic. They've used him in so many different spots because it's like, this is too good of an athlete to keep off the football field. But Ian, you're kind of arguing, or you are arguing, that this year he needs to become not just an elite athlete, but an elite safety.
Yeah, he needs to be the guy that is the versatile chess piece that you can play in the middle of the field as, maybe a deep safety, but other times he's going to come down. Maybe you sub package him and he's like a nickel or a dime so he can hang around in the box. Alabama, to go back to another Alabama team, Minka Fitzpatrick did that for Alabama. And for the Steelers, he's been just like a traditional deep safety. But for college, it was like, we need this guy around the box, around the action, especially like in sub-package, like dime defense for fighting spread teams. If you can play like a 3-2-6 or a 4-1-6 dime on first down, and you have a safety that knows how to play around the box and is like really reactive, you are cooking with gas on defense. And that would be, I think, Texas has a few guys that could maybe do it. Like Jordan Johnson or Rebel maybe is a smart player who's pretty thickly built. He might be able to play around there. They have other guys, Zealous Hicks, we haven't seen a lot from, but Jonathan Cunningham. But you would bet on Jelani McDonald being that guy at this point,
especially now ahead of his senior year.
He has all
for Jelani too.
Yeah, he has all the physical tools you're looking for. The only thing is that he's kind of new to safety in general still.
The recognition stuff.
It's the recognition stuff. He didn't have that down at normal safety last year. He was good, but he didn't have that recognition stuff down at normal safety, much less. Like
they got really spoiled with Taft back there the last few years, basically playing quarterback, and Jelani kind of piggybacking off that. His new list of responsibilities is going to be significant. But here's the biggest thing for Jelani
He's
too.
getting the produce section in the grocery list this year.
100%.
Needs to know what a store fruit is.
We might be looking at safety one in the 2027 NFL draft. This season's going to tell us that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who. I don't know. This is
now he's in the top 3 of the safeties for the draft.
Yeah, this is a really strong safety class.
It's the strongest, man. This was the year not to come out.
Yeah, I mean, aside from Downs, you've got Thieneman.
That kid ran like a 4.37.
Did one of the Georgia guys?
Malachi Starks.
Yeah, I think he may have one more year.
I don't know. I think he has another year.
And then Halsey, this is a good safety class, so it's smart for McDonald to
Michael Taft.
Yeah.
He's going to go in the 4th or 5th round.
Here's a good question from Chris. Ian, where does Derek Williams maybe fit into all this?
Yeah, I assume he'll start next to McDonald at safety. Um, it, Derek Williams, though, like let's say he comes back all the way healthy, and we see pre-injury Derek Williams athletically, and then senior Derek Williams. I've been training with Blake Gideon, Will Muschamp, and now I also really know the defense. So we get like the best of all possible worlds, Derek Williams, right?
That's the one I prefer.
That right. That guy is not really this. That guy is more of a Earl Thomas kind of keep him back because he's going to get there so fast. It doesn't matter.
And that kind of suits him though, right?
Yeah. He could be a dominant player for Texas next year, but he's not, I don't think he would be the kind of guy that you like play as like a dime linebacker. It's just not his deal.
Oh no, I wouldn't say that either.
We're looking for more Kenny Vaccaro type for this. Not he'd be more. His best case is more like Earl Thomas.
Is that what they had down? But they had Downs can do anything, but they had him playing closer to the box. Texas fans know that pretty well. Unfortunately, that they would play him closer to the line of scrimmage. But that's the role, is to be a little bit closer, kind of almost be a half linebacker, half safety type thing.
Yeah, that's what Patricia was doing. Patrick Chung back in the day for like the Brady Belichick Patriots is another. Patrick Chung was a safety, but he would play wherever on the field he needed to be to like match up with a tight end.
That was like Eric Weddle.
So if that was like, he might be a big nickel, he might be a dime linebacker, or he might be back at normal safety. But whichever his job in each package would be primary support safety around the box. And that's what McDonald could be, I think. Chung was awesome. He's like super smart, 210, 215 pounds. If he tackles you, you're going down, that kind of guy.
You mentioned Jonah. I guess, what are your questions about Jonah being able to do this?
You can't do it if you're playing baseball.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Just that.
But athletically, you see him as that being a, because remember when they did that, the 3-1-7, they had him at it was almost like a Christmas tree. He was at the top of the Christmas tree playing the deepest safety role.
Yeah, I think that's just because that was the easiest thing for him to do.
That's exactly what that was for. Just to get him on the field with the least amount of responsibilities. Yeah. I call it the Derek Johnson true freshman year role.
Yep. He is. I think that because of his intelligence and hand-eye coordination combined with the elite size and speed that he has, Jonah Williams, you could kind of he could do this. He could do a lot of things theoretically, but he can't do any of them if he's too busy playing baseball. So
this next offseason is going to be critical for him. Not this year, but next year.
For his Major League Baseball draft status,
or for his potential future in football. It's going to go one way or the other. You know my take on it.
I think that his football career is going to probably happen, but we're not going to really see it until his third or fourth year. Yeah. And we won't see it at all, obviously, if he takes a huge bag to start a Major League Baseball career.
Yeah. Safety's not a very high paying position in the NFL. And I say that relative to tens of millions of dollars that these annual values are, but
Texas will pay you well at safety.
You can get up to, you can probably make as much. I don't know. It all depends. Baseball and football, it's hard to do.
If you're one of the top 5 in your position at the NFL, you get a lot of good money.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else on this one? Who is someone, maybe Ian, who kind of just missed the cut? I mean, instead of breaking out, we just kind of have this idea that Biles and Smith need to be solid. I'm thinking maybe about one of the corner spots, considering how important you find that position to be, since it's opposite of wide receiver. But Was there any other position you thought about just to think maybe throwing in here as well?
Well, I was thinking in terms of dual threat spread teams and wanting to have the like highly versatile, smart players inside that can do multiple things and help you match up. So that was kind of the angle that led me to these guys. Linebacker would also fit into that calculation. I don't know. Really, they just need one of Biles and Smith to be really good. But they're both not. Neither of them are quite like
Ideal.
Yeah.
or like super versatile. They can both be really good, but that's not. I think they're.
I
going
think Ty Anthony's going to morph into something closer to that this year, but it's going to take a couple more years.
I think Jackson and Simmons are probably your best answer for anything and everything up front. And then McDonald in lieu of a linebacker, being able to use McDonald is kind of a solve there. So, yeah, Biles or Smith, if either of them just like exploded and became Roquan Smith, then great. That would take precedence. But
I would take that. I think
Ian's calling that. Ian's basically saying he's Roquan Smith. I'm here for that.
They do need the corners to be good, but at this point, they have like so many dudes that like Phillips and Littleton are like right there, and Masco's already been really good as a corner at a high level of football. So
I'm not.
Kobe Black is on the cusp.
They're going to be fine.
That's your big corner,
dude. Or Warren Roberson too.
Dude, Warren's the one that brings the element of crazy to that defensive side of the ball. And listen, every great defense needs one or two of those kind of guys that are just slightly off kilter, and that's why Warren Roberson is so loved in Austin.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like, I worry. Like, I mean, he's either going to make a hell of a play or a 15-yard personal foul. It's one or the other.
Yeah, I don't have much concern about the secondary having to. I mean, replacing Michael Taft is going to be big, but and replacing Malik Muhammad is going to be big too. But I feel like there's good enough options there. You're between Masco, Littleton, Cade Phillips, all Roberson, all the different guys. Like somebody there is going to be just fine for the corner positions.
And you have to be glad they brought Gideon back because you don't have Taft back there anymore. And so just imagine this bunch with Akina. Oh no! Yeah, you had to bring Gideon back because you lost your coach on the field in Taft.
Justin, we agreed that we wouldn't have to imagine that.
Yeah,
we'll just let that die.
Do we? When Malik Muhammad gets drafted, does Akina and Michael Taft? Does that credit go to Akina? The last two for him.
I mean, it'll go on his. Sure.
Give it to him.
Why not? It doesn't make a difference.
Actually, they should put that on Taft's resume.
They should, but it doesn't. Akina already has like.
I know.
12.
I'm asking it, Jess.
I'm giving Terry Joseph the love for Malik Muhammad.
You can give it to Akina. It doesn't make a difference one way or the other.
I'm not giving Akina anything.
Oh man,
not now.
It's not going to make or break. It's not going to make or break his legacy.
Exactly. Before we keep going, got to show some love to our other sponsor, that is Andre the Lawyer.
Texans know when you're injured, there's one name that gets results: Andre the Lawyer. Trust the team that has secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans win their injury cases. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Don't let the insurance companies tell you what your claim is worth. Andre the Lawyer will fight for you. His principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait. Call 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. Contact info is in the description.
We are in the middle of the off season, but that doesn't mean we can't look ahead to some of the really fun matchups in college football. And Andy and Ari over at On3 had 10 matchups these are their words, not mine, the juiciest matchups of the 2026 college football season. Looking at it from
sell brisket.
Yeah, I know. Looking at it from about 6 months out, and I like this list because there are a lot of intriguing storylines from these 10 games, and 2 of them involve the Longhorns.
I wouldn't have had that second one, Joe. I don't know what it is. I'm surprised they put Texas A&M as a juicy matchup. 2 years ago, 100%. Even last year, I would have given you a little bit of that. In year 3, and A&M hasn't been able to score a touchdown yet. How is that still a juicy matchup?
That's why, because it's been since 2007. I know there was a hiatus.
There's high schoolers that haven't seen the Aggies score a touchdown on Texas.
It's been since 2007 since A&M beat Texas in College Station.
Oh,
see, I don't think this is juicy. I mean, I like it. Hey, kudos to Andy and Ari because it gives us a talking point, but that's not even top 3 juiciest matchups on Texas' schedule this year.
I think it's third.
LSU, A&M last year and A&M year before, the 2 return games to College Station into Austin, those were massive. But what we saw A&M fail to do is live up to their part of the bill. That they didn't pay their tab. That LSU game, especially with Kiffin and Sark being close, and the fact that Texas didn't get that game in 2020 that they very much deserved, or 2019, or it was 2020.
Yeah.
No. LSU is a much better, juicier matchup than Texas at Texas A&M. A&M hasn't earned the right to be on this list yet. Let's be truthful and honest. We're in the trust tree here.
I think I guess they're going for
clicks,
enmity, because there's like Brendan Sorsby going back to Cincinnati.
Yeah, but Tim doesn't give you that.
Mensa going back to playing against Duke. I think I know where I agree with you, Justin, but I think it's coming from like the Texas A&M side of things, like the progress because they haven't beaten Texas in College Station.
Well, I know. So until they score a touchdown, you can't really talk about them.
You and I both know Aggies. You think that doesn't bother them a little bit?
Well, I know it bothers them tremendously. That's why I'm doubling down on it.
I will say this. Aggies' tendency is often to resign themselves to this fate. And Texas has another opponent that hasn't scored a touchdown in an awfully long time that will not resign themselves to that fate. I might have considered putting that game in instead.
It's LSU.
I agree.
It's Texas LSU.
I agree that Texas LSU should have made this list because you have, Texas going to Baton Rouge for the first time and I don't know how long. The Sark and Kiffin angle of it being
the Zion Williams game, Joe.
Yeah, the Zion Williams game. That's pretty good. Texas and Texas A&M, it's fine, but it is definitely more from the A&M side of things and not the Texas.
If they wanted to do it just to poke at the Aggies, which I assume that's kind of what they're doing, well done, gentlemen.
Duke and Miami. I wish this one. I mean, it's not like Durham's a tough place, but the defending ACC champion versus the national finalist.
That sounds funny.
And it's the Darian Mensah game. And it's also Manny Diaz going back to Miami after they
I forgot about
the curb for Mario. Like there's a lot going on with that one there. And Duke's probably going to be fine. I don't know if they'll sneak their way into the ACC title like last year. They wish they had Darian Mensah, but
they have some extra quarterback money if they need one.
You remember the San Jose State quarterback that played against Texas? Walker Eget, that's who they got.
Okay.
Fine.
If he didn't bring Scudero with him, I'm sorry. It's a basketball school.
I'm pretty sure he's a Buff. I think that's where he went.
Him and Leona.
And DeAndre Moore. Oregon at USC.
Fun in Colorado.
Is there like a personal angle on this one?
I didn't understand this one either, and it feels like an awfully early matchup for those two.
It is. I think it's just is USC going to jump up into the actual playoff contender or playoff participant stage?
That game will give you an idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Tech at Cincinnati.
I get the Sorsby angle here. I get that. I really do. But how
No
many
one is
people
watching this game.
outside of Lubbock and Cincinnati will know or give a damn about that football game?
Yeah. It's the Storesby angle because he was the most expensive transfer or quarterback transfer.
I thought Sam Levitt got more than he did.
I think so. I've been listening to a few different things, and a lot of times schools will build in extra money into the NIL deal to go back into the buyout for whatever it is.
Interesting.
I think Sorsby just went like, not going to pay it. And so now that's why there's a lawsuit happening.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot more of those. I'm not going to try to go on to another tangent, but there's going to be much more of those. I can't wait till a precedent is set in one of those, because I think that's really good for college football. And I think this is really bad that these kids are leaving these schools high and dry on contracts. Hey, coaches have to pay the penalty. I think players should have to do the same thing.
Penn State at Michigan. This is an interesting one. 2 new coaches, Matt Campbell versus Kyle Whittingham, Rocco Becht versus Bryce Underwood.
This is the you should have hired me game for Matt Campbell.
Or maybe I should have waited 2 weeks game for Matt Campbell.
No, I think all that stuff around Michigan was just smoke screens while they negotiated Campbell versus Whittingham.
I think Whittingham was the GOAT.
The timing was very suspicious because Campbell was like totally silent, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, Penn State didn't know he'd be interested.
Oh, he couldn't get his phone number.
Yeah, I couldn't get his phone number. It's fine. That all smelled off to me. I think he was in the running at Michigan, or he was trying to get in at Michigan and keep it quiet, and then went so that it, because like Penn State, you don't want to be like the second choice of Matt Campbell. You don't want that to be the story.
But he was. They wanted Kalani Sitake.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I don't think they had
to Michigan.
This.
It all smells funny to me. Whittingham retiring or resigning at the time he did.
And making sure people understood he wasn't retiring, he was resigning.
And then sliding over and taking like most of the top coaches from the state of Utah with him. Like he poaches like BYU's defensive coordinator and
Sharon Moore's bad habits were the best thing that ever happened to that program. They fired that coach so much faster than imagine drawing that out over the next 2 years of bad football, bad play at quarterback, bad everything. Michigan got really lucky when Sharon Moore decided to dip his pen in the company ink.
We'll see if they can get their AD out on that.
Yeah.
He's got to be gone. He has to be gone. Isn't he part of the accountability with Sharon?
Yeah, but hey,
Wolverine
is number 1 in the country right now, or number 2, and they're
in
a final.
Basketball?
Yeah,
he does hang his hat on basketball. You don't forget. I've got close buddies that are attached to the Michigan basketball program. And that AD is attached to basketball, which honestly, that's really all you can be attached to at Michigan right now.
Yeah, that's a team that could win the national title. Moving on, Florida at Auburn. I love this one.
Tell me why.
2 brand new head coaches.
Okay.
Both who finished probably second and third in the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes.
Who's Auburn's quarterback?
Byron Brown, the South Florida one who came with Golish.
I think he's going to be sneaky good in the SEC. I
think Golish is going to go belly up and be the next 3-and-out Auburn coach, if that.
God. You haven't even seen him play yet, Ian.
And
Brown is that consummate college dual threat.
Justin,
makes plays.
Justin, tell me who Alex Golesh hired as his defensive coordinator at South Florida.
Jim Leavitt.
Joe knows. Joe?
I know, but I don't see that as relevant because that's not who he hired at Auburn. He had Todd Orlando at South Florida.
Judgment.
But then he hired DJ Durkin, which, okay, maybe that brings in the judgment thing again.
Well, at least Durkin knows what he's doing. But
I was about to say, isn't Durkin is still the DC there?
Yeah.
Look, that's the thing about Auburn. They were really solid on defense the last couple of years.
Yeah, but just tell me I don't think Golish is going to be very good.
I'm not sure either. I'm just going with, I know they've got a quarterback that is perfect for the college game.
He runs a lot.
Exactly. Listen, you think there's a lot of breed and progressions in college football quarterbacking today, Ian? Let me get you in. There's not.
How big is he? How long is he going to last doing it in the SEC?
That's going to be the question. He was a tough booger in Tampa, so we'll see.
I'm pretty sure he's a big boy. ESPN has him at 6'3", 231.
I didn't think he was that big.
I thought I watched him and he wasn't anywhere near that.
He didn't seem that big to me.
Well, South Florida jerseys, that may have been part of it. I think Florida's going to be. The thing with Auburn is like, what could their ceiling be? And it probably will look like that really good Tennessee team with Hendon Hooker. But I think their depths could be a lot worse. I think they're more volatile. Whereas I think Florida under Summerall is going to, of course, with that, really, they have a good offensive coordinator. I don't know how good that quarterback's going to be, the replacement Haynes King.
Philo.
It's an
Trammell
interesting
Jones
matchup.
is still there. Remember, we talked about that the other day. Trammell Jones is still there.
Yeah.
That game, to me, that Florida at Auburn, that's the, hey, let's take the leftovers of all the other SEC power teams, put them all in a game.
Yeah. Georgia.
This next
Alabama,
game is going to be good just because it's always good.
It's always good, and Kirby Smart just still has an Alabama problem. It's kind of the only problem.
Yeah, that's his only, that and of course all the freaking driving traffic violations. My goodness, they had like 2 more last week, and then they're about to get a, man, I better watch what I say. Garrett, go ahead.
Did you see somebody made there's like these new drones that you can fly. It's like
yes, that's a new thing. That is a new thing, Ian.
Somebody would, thanks for helping me sell this joke, Justin. Somebody was like, they need to pass a law to make these illegal in the state of Georgia. Because you don't want these football players trying to drunken drive those.
I saw where Ian went with that.
This is
quick funny story that includes inside Texas. Will Gallagher and I were at a game a couple years ago in Lufkin, and he wanted to get some drone shots of East Texas high school football stadiums. Well, if you know anything about UIL in Texas, those are illegal. Okay, you can't do that. That's no. I look at Will, I go, get it up and down in like 2 minutes. And if anybody says anything to you, just play dumb or whatever. He didn't have that thing in the air 30 seconds. And there were a group of people that shot over to him. They're like, sir, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I was just getting a couple shots of the stadium. I go, okay, just letting you know that's against UIL rules in Texas. We can't have drones over, blah, blah, blah. Will said, oh, I understand. I didn't know, da, da, da. They go, who are you here with? He goes, I'm here with Justin Wells at Inside Texas. They're like, all right, keep it up for a few minutes, but get some shots and then get it down, and walked off. Yeah. And Will's like, I'll be damned.
There's some interesting stuff with Jones. Like he can't, I think technically, like he can't fly it over DKR for a game or stuff like that. Like there's some, and I think
that's protected airspace.
Yeah, exactly. Miami at Notre Dame. I agree with this one. One ostensibly got in over the other. One made their way.
Is it still convicts versus Catholics?
I don't think it's as much that.
I figured the Georgia Alabama would be more like that now, but no, this is going to be a good one. I'm glad this game is happening. This is a ultimate uniform game, in my opinion.
November 7th, so it's at a key time in the calendar, and it's
it might be chilly in South Bend.
It's more posturing because this is not a conference game, but it's just more of a posturing game for both these teams.
Two quick things on this. Miami got Mensah and his top receiver at Duke. And I kind of think Miami might be really good next year.
I think they're going to take a step back on defense, but I think their offense is going to be better. I can't remember. I studied them like a couple weeks ago. Mark Fletcher Jr., brother. I am buying stock, lots of it.
They have a lot more guys back on defense than
And they got Jackson Cantwell coming in. I'm curious to see if he's going to make the rotation as the #1 player in the country at left tackle or right tackle.
Yeah, their line is totally rebuilt. That's like a big concern, but it's like
that's crystal ball. I wouldn't be.
They're going to be okay, And now they have their offensive coordinator is actually an air raid guy. So if you watched Miami last year, you wouldn't necessarily guess that.
No,
because they were so good
in duo the last 4 games religiously.
Yes, because that's what they were good at. But now it
took them 3 months to learn that.
Oh, and they had Carson Beck.
So exactly.
They didn't have receivers except for Malachi Tony.
Tony's
back. They have Mensah. They have this Duke transfer. They still have some pieces on defense, and they were trending up. And
they're losing some of those guys.
Yeah, they're missing those 2 ends. That's rough. But they have some other guys at least.
I'm with you.
This is one of the only tough games on Notre Dame's entire schedule.
This is the only tough game on Notre Dame's schedule, I think. Right?
I think they might have like one other game.
Depends on what you think of BYU, but
no. Okay, then this is it. This is it.
This is it.
So this is
the difference in Notre Dame making the playoffs and Notre Dame not making the playoffs. They lose this game, they're going to have to catch up to climb back up, because up to this game, they're probably going to be undefeated and they're probably going to be top 12.
No, because they only have to be top 12 and they're automatic.
I know. I agree.
The 3 toughest games for Notre Dame are Wisconsin.
If Notre Dame loses a game, if this game is in September, I don't think it has anything to do with their playoffs.
It's Wisconsin, Miami.
It's in November. I think that has an effect.
Wisconsin, Miami, and SMU are their toughest games.
Lord,
they better watch SMU
and BYU, I guess, if you want to give.
They better watch SMU.
Those are losable, but
Miami's going to have the dogs on the other side of the field to beat them.
I would put it #1 if Notre Dame didn't have such an easy schedule. I don't agree with you that game's gonna. I think they're gonna make the playoffs, no matter what happens in this game.
Yeah,
but if it's true that they need that game to win the playoffs, to get in the playoffs, then put that game #1 because that's going to be huge.
#2, I think Ohio State at Texas. I think that's slotted correctly. It's just too.
No, it is. You've got Arch's next start, Julian Sayen's next start. This game will not look anything like the first game of this last season. This will be a completely different looking game.
It's everything going on with this game makes it #2, and the #1. Yep. I can't disagree with Lane Kiffin going back to Ole Miss.
Boy, that's early in the year too.
Yeah.
We've got some really good games in September, boys.
Ole Miss returning Trinidad Chambliss makes this. If they didn't have that guy back,
it would be a blowout.
Then it'd be
I don't know what LSU is going to look like. Year 1 and Kiffin isn't usually, and regimes aren't usually that great.
They're going to be fine.
Is Sam Leavitt healthy? Do they have an offensive line? Do they have a defensive line?
Yeah,
LSU has some question marks. They have athletes. I can justify that. But man, there's some spots that LSU generally has an abundance of guys. They just don't have those like the last few years.
Yeah, but they bought them. They have like 40 guys coming in, Justin.
I know. They let like 25 of them leave. No, I know.
And
most of them come from Ole Miss.
They got Glasscock.
Hey.
Yeah. Billy's good.
I better leave that one alone too. Yep.
Glasscock,
Billy's really good at his job.
Glasscock was already planning to do this at Ole Miss because they do it every year at Ole Miss anyway. And then all that had to happen was he went down on his Excel sheet and he changed the number on the budget. And then they just did at LSU what they would have done it at Ole Miss anyways, only with like an extra 0.
Yes.
And
Boyd is preaching.
They're going to be good.
That's his pulpit.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you have that video liked. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And, of course, go to InsideTexas.com. Hit that first link in our description. Use that QR code at the top left of the screen. Got all this discussion on college football going on. All the spring practice coverage starts next Monday. And, of course, recruiting, basketball, baseball. We've got it all over on Inside Texas. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.